What's going on, guys? Welcome in. I am Kadarius Washington, and this is the Sports Rundown. It's a pleasure to have you guys in as always, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell to be notified of when I post again, and also follow me on Twitter and on Bluesky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, we have a lot to do today. And a little bit of breaking news as we come on the air. Aaron Rodgers finally agrees to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Raise your hands if you're surprised by the news. All right, no hands. Okay, good. Let's move on. I mean, this was going to happen eventually, obviously. I mean, everybody and their grandmother knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to sign with Pittsburgh. It was either going to be Pittsburgh or bust as far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned. I know people said Minnesota, but I didn't take those reports seriously. It was either going to be Pittsburgh or retirement. The schedule makers, of course, set up all those games with the Jets and the Packers and Seattle and the NFC North and all of that. So Aaron Rodgers finally agrees to sign with Pittsburgh, and so we can go ahead and put the summer of Aaron Rodgers to bed. But nevertheless, back to our regular scheduled programming. I guess while it's on the brain, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the French Open as the women's final is finally set. We got Arena Sabalenka taking on Coco Gauff. And of course, earlier this morning in the semifinal, we had Arena Sabalenka dispose of Iga Swiatek in 3 sets. And of course, the big story of that one, Arena Sabalenka holding Iga Swiatek to a shutout, 0, goose egg, donut, hole in the ground, whatever you want to call it. Arena Sabalenka absolutely destroyed Swiatek, flat out embarrassed her in that 3rd set, and Swiatek's 3-year reign as the Roland Garros champion now comes to an end. And then in the 2nd semifinal, Coco Gauff disposed of the Lois Boyson in straight sets. And of course, Boyson in an absolutely incredible story with her being the wild card, starting out as the 361st ranked player and then making the semifinal, making $800,000 for that. And of course, her career earnings a little north of $160,000. Boyson, an incredible story there, and just ran into a buzzsaw as far as Coco Gauff is concerned. And that matchup is going to be on Saturday, and that is going to be a really good matchup. I really like Sabalenka to win, though. But the thing is with Coco Gauff, she played an absolutely incredible, pretty much a perfect game as far as Boyson is concerned. And Coco Gauff is going to need that if she wants to beat Arena Sabalenka, who showed in the matchup early today why she is the #1 ranked player in the world as far as the women's side is concerned. So we're going to get the 1 seed in Sabalenka and the 2 seed in Coco Gauff. And that is going to make for an absolutely phenomenal French Open final on Saturday. And then, of course, tomorrow we get the men's semifinal. We get Musetti going up against Carlos Alcaraz. I believe that's the first matchup. And then we get Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic, which I am absolutely excited for. That is going to be, I think that might be, on paper, the best matchup so far as far as Roland Garros is concerned. Of course, the center being the #1 ranked player in the world, and Novak Djokovic still looking for his 25th Grand Slam title. So that is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And then, of course, as I just mentioned, Carlos Alcaraz taking on Musetti, the Italian, who's really good on the clay court surface. So that's going to be a very interesting to watch as we progress as far as the sports weekend is concerned. All right, and also the big matchup tonight, game one of the NBA final tips off. We get Indiana taking on OKC, and I want to go ahead and touch on this right quick, and I'm going to start from the diehard fan standpoint. Now, listen, I've been hearing a lot of things saying that this is going to be the lowest rated final, the casual fan not going to care, blah, 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 all that. But as a diehard fan of the NBA and a diehard fan of sports, I like this. I like this matchup coming up as far as Indiana and OKC is concerned. And for me, and I think this is going to be the first NBA Finals since Miami and Dallas in '06, where neither team has won a championship in their franchise history because OKC does not celebrate that 1979 championship from the Seattle Supersonics, and then Indiana. The last time they won a professional basketball championship, they were in the ABA, not the NBA. So that's going to be an absolutely incredible matchup. And for me personally, this is going to be the first matchup since Milwaukee Phoenix 2021 where I really don't have too much of a team that I'm rooting for or against. Of course, last year we had my Celtics going up against Dallas in the final. And then the year before that, we had Denver and Miami, and everybody who knows me knows that as a Celtic fan, I can't stand Miami. And then the year before that, we had my Celtics once again going up against Golden State. So as a diehard fan, I like these kinds of finals. I love seeing new blood in the spotlight and a team and a young team getting a chance to raise their first Larry O'Brien. Now, when it comes to appealing to the casual fan, I mean, I get it because the NBA, they prefer to have the Bostons, the New Yorks, the Lakers, and the Golden States of the world in the finals. And that's pretty much most of the other sports leagues. The NFL is different. They can give you a Houston, Arizona Super Bowl, and you're going to get 125, 130 million people. Of course, the NBA, of course, last year getting Boston, and then the year before that, a couple of years prior to that, getting Boston and Golden State, which was a really good final for both the casual fan and the diehard fan. And then the year before that, getting that ratings nightmare. As fun of a series as it was a ratings nightmare as far as Milwaukee and Phoenix is concerned. And just like, for instance, in baseball, last year, of course, Fox getting thrown a huge bone and lucking out getting that Yankee-Dodger World Series, which we haven't had in a million years. And the year before that, getting that ratings disaster as far as the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. And I'm pretty sure Fox would not be too happy if we went from getting a Dodger-Yankee World Series last season to getting a Tampa Bay-Milwaukee final this year. And hockey is a little different because you also have to factor in the Canadian audience, just like this year, same as last year with Florida and Edmonton. We're not necessarily, I don't think, going to get a proper read of what the Canadian audience does. But nevertheless, I understand what these sports leagues are trying to do. Nevertheless, even though it might not appeal to a casual fan, diehard fan, I love it. And I'm going to start with Indiana here, give you a little bit of a preview with that. Of course, Indiana taking care of that compromised Buck team, and then flat out embarrassing Cleveland in 5 games. Now, listen, I didn't really give the Pacers much of a chance in that series, but they definitely proved their salt there. And then, of course, disposing of the Knicks in 6, and, of course, finding their way into the final. And then in OKC, busting out the brooms on Memphis. and then surviving that grueling series against the Nuggets, where to my mistake, I really wasn't too strong on OKC in that one, given Denver's experience, but they survived that 7-game series. And then, of course, you had OKC win in 5 against Minnesota, who absolutely had no intentions of playing that Game 5 matchup. But nevertheless, here we are. And really, if you go on a lot of the fans and talking heads and broadcasters alike, they're really not giving Indiana much of a chance here. And you know what? I'm not either. I really like OKC to win this thing in 5. They've been the best team in basketball all year. They're definitely the better team in this series. They definitely have more depth. They have the better bench. They have the better defense. I mean, they're both deep teams, but if everything you look at in OKC, they're just better. They're just the better team. And I know Indiana, of course, you've got Nesmith who can go off. You've got Siakam who's got championship experience. Of course, being a part of that Toronto championship team back in 2019. You've got Nembhard, you've got Halliburton, you got Miles Turner who's pretty good. You've got Obi Toppin. You got a lot of players you can look at for Indiana, which is why I wanted to give them a chance. But I mean, like I said, OKC, they're just far and away the best team and the better team. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing went in a sweep, but I really think maybe Indiana gets a game, but I really like OKC to win this thing in 5 as far as that's concerned. And of course, yesterday we had the Stanley Cup, game 1 of the Stanley Cup final, and Edmonton surviving, having that absolutely incredible comeback win against the Florida Panthers. And of course, man, I gotta say, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, they are just too good, man. They are just way too good at hockey. Of course, McDavid and his speed and the assist to Draisaitl, getting the game-winning goal with about a minute and some change left to go in overtime. And Sergei Bobrovsky, I mean, you got to give Bobrovsky credit. He absolutely stood on his head as far as overtime was concerned. Of course, Edmonton and that defense being better, and of course leading to more shot on goal opportunities. And I really thought that we were going to get a double overtime, but eventually McDavid and Draisaitl and the Edmonton team eventually just wore Florida down. And Bobrovsky, like I said, who had been incredible, they get the goal past them and they take game 1. And like I said yesterday, I like Edmonton to win this thing in 7. Edmonton, they've got the home ice in this thing. It's going to be a grueling series. Of course, it went to 7 last year with Florida winning the cup. And like I said, Edmonton, I like, and of course, they take game 1 as far as that series is concerned, and they're just due. They're just due. I can't say that enough. Edmonton, Canada, they're just due for a cup. Of course, Edmonton not winning that since 1990. All right, and then something else that I want to get into as well. Also coming up this weekend, we have the Belmont, the last jewel of the Triple Crown, and of course the big story and the anticipated matchup. We have Sovereignty, the winner of the Kentucky Derby, going up against Journalism, who won the Preakness. And of course, if you remember in the Kentucky Derby, Sovereignty and Journalism went 1-2 in that one. And of course, Sovereignty not racing in the Preakness. And then, of course, now you're going to have the rematch of the Kentucky Derby winner and the Preakness winner in the Belmont, which is going to be in Saratoga. And that is going to be absolutely incredible. And I am going to be excited to watch that as we go forward in the sports weekend. And another really good thing happening in the sports weekend, let me get to the baseball right quick while I'm thinking about it. Two really good series coming up. As far as the baseball weekend is concerned, we've got the Yankees and the Red Sox coming up, one of the best rivalries in all of sports. That's going to be something that I'm going to be very interested in. And another series that I'm going to be interested in is going to be the Tigers and the Cubs. I think that's going to be an absolutely phenomenal series. The Tigers, who have been the best team in baseball so far this year, going up against Chicago, who has been really, really good. And I say it all the time: baseball is better when a team like Chicago is good. And so I'm really going to be excited for that. And the Washington Nationals. And listen, I really do believe the Washington Nationals, my Nationals, are a year away from actually being good. We have a lot of good pieces as far as Washington is concerned, of course, with James Wood and Hassel and everybody. And then, of course, our pitching, our farm system so far going really well. So far, my Nationals are definitely taking steps in the right direction. Of course, as far as the rebuild is concerned, obviously we haven't done anything since we won that championship in 2019, but I really like the Nationals and the directions that they're taking and all of the young talent that's being developed there. That's some very, very good stuff. As far as the Nationals is concerned. And one more thing, too, before we sign off. I know the diehard WNBA fan is turned off by this matchup. I get it. But we're also going to be getting the second matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. And a little bit of significance there is that's going to be an 8 o'clock matchup on Saturday night on CBS, and I believe that's going to be the first matchup of WNBA primetime matchup on CBS. Now, listen, there's a little bit of juice taken out of it, given that Caitlin Clark is still not going to play as she's still battling injury. Indiana, they're dealing with a lot of injuries right now themselves. But I'm really gonna be interested in the game. I'm gonna be really invested into it. I know the W fan does not like the narratives. They don't like all the drama that comes with it. But I really don't anticipate that it's going to be as much drama as we had in that first Fever Sky game with the whole situation with the flagrant foul and then Clark exchanging words with, Reese rather, exchanging words with Clark and that thing turning into an entire mess as far as that is concerned. But other than all that other stuff, that is going to be a really good matchup as far as the W is concerned. But like I said, folks, this is going to be by far one of, if not the best sports weekend of the year. Getting the NBA Finals. We got the Stanley Cup Final to look forward to. We got the Roland Garros semifinal and final that we're looking to. We got two really good series coming up in baseball as far as the Cubs and the Tigers and the Yankees and the Red Sox are concerned. We're going to get the journalism sovereignty rematch in the Belmont, which is going to be really fun. And then we're going to have Fever Sky on Saturday night, which is going to be very, very fun as far as the weekend is concerned. Well, folks, that is going to do it for this edition of the Sports Rundown. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell to be notified of when I post again. And also follow me on Twitter and on Bluesky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports. And I will see y'all the next time. Peace.